बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। प्रेयर का टॉपिक हमने स्टार्ट किया था एज अ पिलर ऑफ इस्लाम, राइट? अब ये मेन टॉपिक है और देयर इज अगेन अ चांस नाउ प्रेयर फिर आ सकते हैं, क्योंकि प्रेयर इज समथिंग व्हिच यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट। इवन पिछले साल भी प्रेयर आया, देन अगेन यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट प्रेयर अगेन। दिस ईयर द प्रेयर वाज नॉट आस्क्ड इन October November, it was asked in May June paper only. So still paper prayer topic is important for you, so you should be uh, aware about different area chances prayer question aa sakte hain. We did one question, that is conditions of the prayer to be fulfilled before starting the prayer. It's a complete 10-mark question. This question, I told you yesterday, it's an outline, it's not the answer. So when you prepare for this question, do read your book to go with the detailed method of prayer. There are duas, supplications which are going to be added in it. There are references of Quran. There is a reference of Quran, I think it's a verse of Surah Nisa. When you intend for prayer, wash your face, wash your hand till elbows, wipe your head, and wash your feet. You might be thinking there is no discussion about gargling and all of these things. हदीस से गार्गलिंग वगैरह प्रूव होता है। जो कुरान का बेसिक फर्ज है ना वजू के अंदर, दे आर 4, बट इट डजंट मीन यू विल स्टार्ट रिलाइंग ऑन इट. इट इज ओनली ओके व्हेन यू आर परफॉर्मिंग prayer in a very cold weather or somewhere like you are not able to use the water easily, so then you can go rely on first. So washing your face completely, washing your hands till elbows, and wiping over your head and washing your feet, that's the core requirement of the wudu. Then gargling, putting water in the, repeating each action 3 times, the sare sunnah actions, but we need details for that. Some students, to reach higher level, they write about what are the farz of wudu, what are the sunnahs of wudu, and what are the nafil or the recommended act of the wudu, like saying Bismillah in the beginning, washing your hands in the beginning. We need a proper method, so don't skip this thing. ये बहुत important है. अभी recently non-Pakistani variant में एक question आया हुआ है. You can expect that question for you back again. The method of in detail there. Then we move to this topic, and I was talking about that one. And this is about delayed prayer or qaza prayer. ये भी अभी May June 2025 non-Pakistani variant का question है. This is repeated recently back again, but non-Pakistani variant. Do not start your answer directly from in what circumstances you are allowed to delay prayer. You need to begin with significance of prayer. It's a pillar of Islam, cannot be skipped. You're not allowed to leave it without a genuine reason. Then you will develop the Quranic references and hadith, how Allah has given relaxation. If someone is not able to perform wudu with water, he is allowed to do tayammum. You will talk about tayammum. You will talk about Islam. You can talk about relaxation. Unable to stand in the prayer, you are instructed to, allowed to sit down, but namaz se chutti nahi hai. You have to do that one. If someone is performing, as someone is in a journey, there is no holiday in the prayer due to journey. That person is allowed to do shortening. Not allowed, even instruction hai ki aap shortening of prayer kare. We will talk about shortening of prayer topic separately for aage jaake hum abhi discuss karenge. Then you will move on with few cases in which you are allowed to delay the prayer. So delaying of the prayer is allowed in certain circumstances. तो आप delay वाले जो details रहते हैं वहाँ पे उसको add करेंगे. What are the circumstances in which delaying of the prayer is allowed? You need to add the points about that one. Okay. Up now we'll need the cases in which you are allowed to delay the prayer. What are the cases when you are allowed to delay the prayer? Someone last time added a point, if someone is sick, the person can skip, delay the prayer, or qaza kar sakta hai, namaz skip kar sakta hai, but we need details of the sickness. Someone is just suffering from cough or flu or minor fever, no holiday in the prayer again. So prayer has to be performed there. In what circumstances of sickness, like the person is not in the senses in that sickness, that he do not know if he is able to perform prayers. Yeah, he is feeling drowsy and he might be not able to remember the verses and to pronounce them properly. Then you are allowed to skip the prayer or delay the prayer. But normal cases mein namaz ki delay sickness mein nahi hai. You need to explain that point there. Second thing, because if someone is not performing prayer due to sickness, कि पानी नहीं यूज कर सकता, तयम्मुम के ऑप्शन है. We will talk about तयम्मुम separately. एक केस तो ये हो गया, the person is suffering from serious sickness. What are the other cases the person is allowed to skip the prayer or delay the prayer? I told yesterday, who was talking to a traveler? Good point, but traveler के लिए मैंने आपको कहा था, he is not allowed to skip. He will do shortening of prayer. बट डिलेइंग ऑफ प्रेयर मींस कि आप नमाज छोड़ दें. उसके कुछ केसेस हैं, हम यहाँ नहीं लिखेंगे बिकॉज इन कैम्ब्रिज आंसर यू विल चूज अ केस व्हिच कैन बी एक्सप्लेन्ड इजीली. सिकनेस पे कैम्ब्रिज वैसे मार्क्स दे देता है नॉर्मल सिकनेस के ऊपर भी बिकॉज आई हैव सीन, बट इट इज गुड टू एक्सप्लेन द एक्सटेंडेड वर्जन कि व्हाट टाइप ऑफ सिकनेस यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. ट्रैवलिंग में जनरल केसेस में नमाज से छुट्टी नहीं है, हॉलीडे नहीं है, शॉर्टनिंग ऑफ प्रेयर होगा. बट someone may mention कि someone is making a journey in which that person is a pilot or someone जो जहाज, ऐसे अब तो ऑटो पायलट ऑप्शन भी आ गया है. Even pilots perform prayer if they have a flight of 10 hours or 12 hours, so they have assistant pilots and other things there, so they even perform prayer in that case also. But in this case, person may delay it for a genuine reason there. What case is it allowed? God forbid, अगर अल्लाह ताला में बचाए, there is an earthquake and buildings got collapsed or any such type of scenarios, people who got stuck there, people who are helping to take them out, in this case the delaying of the prayer is allowed. Okay, these people who are, you can see the cases here. First case is here, that is very serious sickness. I think you are not having any connection with God, you're fully dizzy, you're not having any, so that's allowed. Second case is स्लीप. अच्छा, नॉट इंटेंशनली, जानबूझ के नमाज के टाइम जाके सो जाएंगे, उठ के फिर जान बच जाएगी. नो, इफ समवन केप्ट स्लीपिंग फॉर अ रीजन, लाइक यू स्लेप्ट एंड यू डोंट हैव अलार्म और समथिंग, यू फॉरगॉट इट, नमाज का टाइम कज़ा हो गया अनइंटेंशनली, यू आर नॉट अकाउंटेबल फॉर दैट वन. यू व्हाट यू विल डू, you will immediately perform qaza when you wake up or whenever you have time afterwards, but the person is not accountable. hadith है holy prophet की, एक गलती से कोई चीज रह जाए और एक सोने की वजह से रह जाए, उसके ऊपर पर्सन से क्वेश्चन नहीं है. अनइंटेंशनली अगर कोई चीज होती है, यू आर नॉट अकाउंटेबल फॉर दैट वन. देयर इज अ हदीस, आई डोंट रिमेंबर एग्जैक्ट वर्डिंग, अरबिक में है, रुफिया अला उम्मती, कि मेरी उम्मत के ऊपर से दो चीजों से अल्लाह ताला ने सख्ती हटाई हुई है. एक है फॉरगेटफुलनेस और दूसरा है स्लीप की वजह से. अगर नींद से कोई चीज आपकी रह जाती है तो आप आंसरेबल नहीं, बट कज़ा पढ़नी है बाद में. नेक्स्ट, थर्ड केस, डॉक्टर इज ऑपरेटिंग टू सेव द लाइफ ऑफ अ पर्सन. That's allowed. You can talk about that case, that he is allowed. Same if the person is on the surgery process or operation process, of course that person is also there. The victims and the rescuers of a catastrophe or any calamity or any incident, then they are allowed to delay. All right, moving on. Fifth one, physical jihad. Can you give the example where Prophet and his companions' prayer got delayed? Battle of Khandak और trench में Muslims were facing such a tough situation, so they delayed. आप example add कर सकते हैं इसके अंदर. Okay, moving on. अच्छा, ये सारे cases थे. 5 cases कौन से हैं जिसमें नमाज डिले की जा सकती है? नीचे जो cases यहाँ पे मैंने mention किए हुए 6, 7, 8, somewhere 9th as well, इसमें नमाज पढ़नी ही नहीं है. The person is not allowed to perform prayer, so you need to make sure कि, अच्छा, अब ये ऊपर वाले cases में आप लिखेंगे the person should make up the missed prayers, जो ऊपर वाले cases हैं. नीचे वाले में the person is, Allah has blessed the person with exemption from the prayer, or person does not have to perform prayer. अच्छा, सॉरी, ये जो 6th है ना, इसमें exemption नहीं है परमानेंट. आप कभी नमाज इसलिए भी कज़ा करते हैं कि आप हाईवे में, लोग कहते हैं कच्चे के इलाके के पास से गुजर रहे हैं और नमाज कज़ा हो रही है. फॉर एग्जांपल, पाकिस्तान के अंदर एक फेमस जगह है कि आप हाईवे पे और वो इलाका अनसिक्योर है, नमाज आप कज़ा कर सकते हैं. तो इट्स नॉट लाइक एग्जैक्टली एग्जांपल देनी है, लेकिन इफ यू आर इन अ जर्नी, यू नो इफ आई विल स्टॉप देयर टू परफॉर्म प्रेयर, आई माइट बी इन डेंजर. मे बी एनिमीज का फेयर हो सकता है, एनिमल का फेयर हो सकता है. तो ये 6 केस ऊपर के साथ अटैच्ड है. 7th, 8th और 9th में कज़ा ही नहीं है, ये नमाजें है ही नहीं इन लोगों के ऊपर, चाहे वो जितने भी केसेस हैं, या आप नीचे स्पेसिफाई उसको कर सकते हैं. ये डिलेइंग ऑफ प्रेयर का टॉपिक आपका कंप्लीट हो जाता है. तो यू नीड टू इंट्रोड्यूस द वर्ड डिले, कज़ा. You need to mention significance of prayer. Then you're going to talk about in what cases the person is allowed to skip the prayer. There are lots of cases, examples. अगर आप reference add कर देंगे, your answer will alleviate more. वैसे ये complete answer है, ठीक है, आप इसको as it is भी लिख सकते हैं. फिर उसके बाद आपने ruling लिखनी है, अगर किसी की नमाज कज़ा हो जाए. first 6 में कज़ा करनी है, बाद में जब टाइम मिलता है you have to make up for the missed prayer. और कौन सी नमाजें कज़ा करेंगे? All the, for example, फजर में 2 है या ज़ुहर में only first prayer, so you will specify it there. Understand? And if someone's prayer was qaza as a shortened prayer, कसर नमाज थी ना, हाईवे पे था, हाफ प्रेयर हुई भी थी, अब वो हाफ ही कज़ा करेगा, वो फुल नहीं करेगा बाद में. तो ये भी चीज आप चाहे तो ऐड कर सकते हैं. यस, फजर की शॉर्टन नहीं है, फजर है 2, लेकिन फजर की जो सुन्ना वैसे है 2 रकात बिफोर फजर, इट हैज अ बिग सिग्निफिकेंस. Prophet ﷺ's hadith says It is better than everything in this world. So that's 2 rakats before Fajr prayer. लोग फर्ज नहीं पड़ते, सुनना तो पहले की अलग चीज है, लेकिन सुनना of the Fajr prayer has significance. अगर लेकिन किसी की वो कज़ा हो गई है उस डे, और वो फिर फर्ज ही पड़ेगा. Qaza is only for the first prayer and wajib prayer, which is witr prayer. So farz and wajib prayers are going to be performed in qaza. Baki details aap chahe to yahan pe it's already there. You can add any point if you want. By the way, it's a complete model answer और एक structured चीज है. सिर्फ ये 6 point जो है ना ऊपर 5 के साथ ऐड होगा, क्योंकि इसकी रूलिंग अलग है, नीचे यहाँ से रूलिंग अलग हो जाती है. Okay, all right. Ab next question, which is asked again recently. How to perform a single rakah? There is no single rakah, by the way. Normally, even जो वितर prayer कुछ schools of thought में एक रकात पढ़ी जाती है, वो two के साथ attach करके पढ़ी जाती है. So there is no single rakah. By the way, Cambridge asked how to perform. Cambridge your question है. What you will do in it? Single rakah का method लिखें. If you want, you can mention there is no single rakah. So the person will repeat the same actions in the second rakah. How to perform the prayer? Have a look at it. How do you think you will begin your answer? Okay, maybe introduction. I personally think student may start, the person when he starts performing prayer, he need to make sure he has fulfilled all the conditions of the prayer. What are the conditions? You remember that. Direction to Qibla, cleanliness, timings of the prayer, refer to it, and then go to the like method of prayer directly after making intention. अब method of prayer आपने कैसे structure करना है? इसमें कुछ keywords हैं. In prayer, you begin your prayer with opening takbir. What is it called, by the way? Takbir-e-tahrima. If you use the word takbir-e-tahrima, which is here, that makes your like good impression on the examiner. Namaz kahan se shuru ho rahi hai? Niya ki, aapne intention ki. Takbir-e-tahrima is the opening takbir saying Allahu Akbar. After that, the person has to stand in the prayer. That's called standing in the prayer. Is called. No, that's A'udhu Billah. What do we call standing in the prayer? That's Bismillah. There's a word for it. Opposite of sajda, sujood. That's close. That's before. Qiyam, good. Qiyam, I wrote it somewhere here. So after the, definitely you are in state of qiyam when you say takbiratul ihram. आप नमाज में सीधे खड़े हुए होंगे. आप qiyam शुरू कर चुके हैं. आपने Allahu Akbar कहा, उसके बाद नमाज का मैदान यहाँ दिया. हमारी position is called qiyam. अब you will talk about what do you recite in the prayer. You recite 4 things in single rakah. आप सबसे पहले क्या करते हैं? Sana पढ़ते हैं. You can write sana. You can write tasbih or whatever word you can write there. Then ta'awuz, someone said, which is saying A'udhu Billah. Then you say tasmiyah, which is Bismillah. Then you recite qirat, which no, before that Surah Fatiha. Surah Fatiha पे reference आ जाएगा. What's the reference? The prayer cannot be established without Surah Fatiha, or there is a hadith, easy wording में क्या है? There is no prayer without Surah Fatiha. ये reference है आपके syllabus में, आगे 2-3 जगह चाहिए होगा. कि आपके पास यहाँ तक बात आ गई, there is no prayer. अब उसके बाद you use the word qirat. Qirat means reciting something from Quran after Surah Fatiha. That is, it could be Surah Kawthar, Ikhlas, whatever you can write it. What the person will do after that, he will go to ruku. अब आपने ये चीज ख्याल रखनी कि आपका आंसर एक सीक्वेंस में जाए, ट्रांजिशन प्रॉपर होना चाहिए. स्टार्टिंग विद निया, तकबीरतुल इहराम, यू आर इन स्टेट ऑफ क़याम. क़याम में आप क्या करते हैं? सना, दैट इज सुब्हानकल्लाहुम्मा व बिहम्दिका, व्हाटएवर यू जस्ट राइट जस्ट सना देयर. देन यू विल राइट ताउज़ और आउज़ु बिल्लाह, तस्मिया, or you can say bismillah, it's up to you. Then Surah Fatiha, and then a portion of Quran, which is equal to almost minimum 3 verses of Quran. You can take the example of Surah Ikhlas or Surah Kawthar, आप कुछ भी वहां पे लिख सकते हैं. ठीक है, अब आप जाएंगे रुकू में. रुकू का पोस्टर आपने एक्सप्लेन करना है. Saying Allahu Akbar when going in ruku. What do you recite in ruku? And when you stand up back again, what you will say for that one, you can write it. You can see here. This is called tasmeen. It's actually not tasmiya, it's tasmeen. Tasmeen means to say Sami Allahu liman hamida. That's the Arabic word, and its short form is tasmeen, which is used there. You can just write supplication or saying for the ruku while standing up. आप लिख सकते हैं. ठीक है. What do you say after that one? It's called tahmeed. What is tahmeed? Rabbana lakal hamd wa Rabbana wa lakal hamd. It's called tahmeed. So you can write tahmeed, you can write the same word, but in English, not in Arabic. Make sure about that. रुकू हो गया. रुकू के बाद क्या करना है? Stand up for some time. Then what do we do after that? Sujood. You will talk about sujood, the method of sujood. Explain it there. That is Then what do we do between the sujood? A sitting between two sujood. It's a method of the prayer. That is according to the Sunni school of thought. If someone wants to write it as per Shia school of thought, examiner accepts it. But make sure mix up nahi karna. Aadha idhar se likha hua method, aadha udhar se. Go with one method. And examiner, that's why rarely give this question. Because there is a difference in the method of prayer and supplications in the prayer, not only among the Shia Sunnis, maybe among the Sunnis or Shias, their self kuch na kuch differences honge regarding some of the duas or supplication, but examiner have a standard method with them and they check it accordingly. Don't think if the examiner is Sunni or Shia student ke marks kaat dega, aisa kuch bhi nahi hai. They go with both sides and they see both methods, and they have people who are expert, they tell ke ye method valid hai, genuine hai. So you don't have to worry about it. That's the general standardized method जो mostly marking scheme में लिखा होता है या books में. This is what we are talking about, and it's mostly based on Sunni school of thought का जो method होता है, लेकिन आप different method से भी लिख सकते हैं. Method आपको clear हुआ, structuring जरूरी है. और मैं एक दफा आपको quickly बता देता हूँ, इस आंसर में आपने निया लाजमी लिखनी है, तकबीर तहरीमा लाजमी लिखना है, फिर क़याम की डिटेल्स आप मेंशन करेंगे, सूरह फातिहा का रेफरेंस लाजमी आएगा, देन रुकू, standing between ruku and sujood, then sujood, details. After second sajda, अब आप क्या करेंगे? अगर क्वेश्चन है 2 रकात के ऊपर, so you will write the person will stand up back again and he will repeat the same thing as he did in the first rakah. And when he will go for second sajda again, he will sit down, and that sitting is called, when you sit in the prayer in the last rakah, it's called, we have a word for it. It's called qada al-akhira, or the last sitting of the prayer, or we call it tashahud also. So there is a word here. Then you can see the second rakah is performed as the same, and then bismillah, auzubillah, it's not an issue. Then the person will sit for what? Qada. Qada is sitting. What you will do when you are sitting in the prayer? What are the actions you do in it? At-tahiyyat. Good. Who said that? At-tahiyyat. Then tashahud, saying ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, declaration of the shahada, then salawat or durood on Holy Prophet, and then dua, and then lastly, that's dua, yes, that's dua. What else we do after that? Salam. So we use a word called taslim. Agar aap taslim word use karte hain, taslim means to say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and to say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, or you can just mention that when this is the method of the prayer. Ek do cheezein maine end pe suggest ki, how many of you know about the word sajda sahab? If you mess up anything, it's very good. So if you have done a mistake in the prayer, we call it sajda for forgetfulness. इसकी थोड़े से rules हमने नहीं लिखने, लेकिन आपने अपनी real life में ये समझना है. Purpose of adding these things is to make a person sometimes aware if I'm performing prayer, is my prayer valid or not, and do I know if I do a mistake in the prayer, can I fix it, or it has to be repeated. So sajda for forgetfulness is called sujood as-sahw. अगर आपसे कोई mistake हुई है, आपसे कोई वाजिब unintentionally छूट गया है, you will make it up by performing sajda sahw. You can mention the method if you want, saying salam on one side and then performing 2 sujoods or whatever. आप बिल्कुल यहाँ पे इसको लिख सकते हैं. फिर मैंने एक और चीज ऐड किया, दुआ कुनूत for witr prayer. So you can mention in case of witr prayer, the person, this is additional paragraph at the end. If you want, you can wind up your answer directly here in the second last paragraph पे भी end हो सकता है. But if you want to add up details, you can do this type of thing. So that is going to make examiner. This question is asked 2-3 times in CI exams. And the recent question has azan with this question. So they gave a question which I showed you yesterday. Write an account of call for prayer and method of 5 regular prayers. अब ये 5 regular prayers के अंदर आपका method same आएगा. And this is, अब what you can add more in it, वो आगे जाके हम एक topic पढ़ेंगे. If the prayer is congregational prayer, then what we have to do in that case. This is a general method, like the person is performing prayer. Like if it's performed in congregation, imam is leading prayer, how much he will recite, how much the people who are performing prayer will recite. We will talk about that one in the next discussion. Is it clear? Method हम routine में नमाज पढ़ते हैं और हम वैसे भी students को ये नहीं करवाते थे. We used to ask, आपको method आता है, you can write it. But that is a model answer. You can use this one and it's going to be a good one. Moving on to the next discussion. What is the person who leads the person who leads the prayer is called imam. But the person who follows the imam in the prayer is called, what do we call him?
Muqtadi.
Muqtadi, excellent, very good. Muqtadi is a person who is following the Imam. We need these two words in our next discussion, and the next discussion question is how to perform congregational prayer. ये boys के लिए comparatively आसान होगा चीज क्योंकि normally they go to the masjid or at least they see the people performing prayer at number of occasions, so they know what is happening in it. We are moving to that question because it's related to the method of prayer. So first I will go to that thing, and then I will come back to the other discussions here. I will follow a specific sequence. That's why, yes. Describe the main features, characteristics. की coverage में एक दफा आया था इस तरह से यूं पूछा हुआ था describe the main features of congregational prayers. एक दफा ऐसे पूछा हुआ 5 daily prayers और एक मैंने पूछा हुआ 5 daily prayers and Jummah prayer. So you need to combine both questions here. We are talking about congregational. Congregational prayer means जमात के साथ नमाज पढ़ना, combine इकट्ठे होकर नमाज पढ़ना, and 5 times जो regular prayer होती है, we are talking about that one. How many people can perform prayer in congregation? Minimum कितने लोग होने चाहिए? 5. I'm talking about 5 regular prayer. 2 is also fine. If 2 people are there, they can perform prayer in congregation. You can see that in Arab countries more. If you are performing, one person is performing prayer, someone will come from behind, just pat on your back. It means that he wants to tell you that you are Imam now and I'm following you in the prayer. So this is what is common in Arab, Middle Eastern countries mostly. 2 people can perform prayer. How they will perform prayer, you already gave the idea. Yes. Bilkul, they stand next to each other, close to each other. You can mention 1 step difference. Imam is on the left side and the Muqtadi is on the right side. That is if 2 people are performing prayer in congregation. Okay. Then if there are more than 2 people, then Imam in the front and 2 people at the back of the Imam. That is further goes on. More than 2, 3, 4, Imam will be in the front and the rows will be made after the Imam there. What if there are men and women, both are there in the prayer? Imam in the front, men in the next after the Imam, and then the woman at the next row, and the next row will be for the woman. What if the kids are there also? Imam in the front, men at the back, then the kids, then the women. Okay, so that's the sequence or the way which you have to be following there. What if the women are there only? How they will perform prayer in congregation then? No Imam is there, no man is there, all women are there. Good. Most majority scholars believe the women cannot lead the prayer. Lekin kuch scholars कहते हैं they can lead the women only, they cannot lead the men. So that is a different discussion. If you want, you can go with that. But now look at it. It's a suggested points here. And why it's recommended to perform prayer in congregation? Quran की एक वर्ष आएगी, reference आएगा. Warka'u ma'ar-raki'in. Bow with those who bow in front of Allah, who perform prayer. So means combined prayer. Hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is that hadith? Prayer in congregation is better than the prayer of a man himself by 27 times. In simple words, prayer in congregation is 27 times more rewarding than the prayer alone. That's the reason why it's like somewhere someone is getting 1 rupee and the other thoda sa aage jaake 27 times aapko mil raha, you would prefer 27 times of course. So that's the reward for performing prayer. Do we have worldly benefits of performing prayer in congregation? Do we have some worldly other than spiritual benefits? Worldly means dunya mein kya fayda hai for performing? Equality. Okay. What else? Brotherhood. Coming to know about the problems of other people. Okay. Many other benefits. We have a 10-mark question on it. That's why I was asking it, but we will come to it separately. How to perform prayer in congregation? Mein sabse pehle you will introduce the significance of performing prayer in congregation. Hadith and Quranic reference is going to be there. Then you are going to talk about, you can see I have written a bullet point at the corner. Which prayers we can perform in congregation. You will also talk about it. Only first prayer. Generally, I'm talking about 5 regular prayers, so only first prayer. There is no congregation for Sunnah and Nafil prayer in the 5 regular prayer. Tarawih prayer के बाद वितर पढ़ाई जाती है. That is exceptional for Ramadan. But routine cases, it is just for first prayer. You can see here only first can be performed in congregation. No, the other sunnahs are performed singly. They cannot be performed in combined. Now the case is what the rule if 2 men are there. And then the rule if more than 2 men are there. You already explained it. You need to structure it in your answer accordingly. In which prayer Imam should recite Quran loudly? And in which prayer Imam recites Quran Fajr, Maghrib and Isha. Good.
The first two rakats he will recite it.
Good. So you will mention Imam when he will lead the prayer. He will recite the first two rakats, Surah Fatiha and Quran loudly in Fajr, Maghrib and Isha. The Zuhar and Asr prayers Imam recites silently. Students may talk about the significance of saying Ameen after Imam finishes the Surah Fatiha. If you want, you can talk about that point also there. What if a person misses a rakah in the prayer? You join the prayer and Imam is already on the second rakah or the third rakah. Then you have to mention briefly. Don't go in detail of it. If he skips one rakah, what he has to do. But why it's easy for the boys sometimes because they are familiar. I have seen sometimes the women struggle when they go to Haram and they perform prayer in congregation. Up to Pakistan mein trend ho gaya hai. Women are going to the masjid also in some cases. But Haram mein normally they join the Imam in the prayer because the women are also performing there and they have missed one or two rakahs. After the Imam is finished, they have to worry what we have to do now. So there is a method to perform the missed rakahs there. So you need to mention that point there, how to perform the missed rakahs. आपने इतने डेप्थ में नहीं जाना, but you must mention कि the person should cover the missed rakahs. पर ये यहाँ पे नीचे क्या लिखा, मैंने हेडिंग साथ साथ लिखी हुई है. डिटेल मेथड है, इमाम कौन सी चीजें लाउडली कहेगा और सिमिलरली मुक्तदीज ने क्या क्या चीजें पढ़नी है और कौन सी चीजें नहीं पढ़नी. You can write about it. If someone joins late, the ruling related to that one as well. So you need to develop these things there. This is the answer of a question, but Cambridge has asked it mostly with Friday prayer. This is half of a 10-mark answer. Remaining half is mostly going to be, I think I wrote it. Details of Friday prayer. So that's a different discussion there. If the question is talking about, yeah, इसी के साथ add होगा. अगर suppose you are going to say, if the congregational prayer is of Friday prayer, add details. And if the Friday congregational prayer is of Eid prayer, add details here briefly. So that will make your answer more stronger depending on what is the question in exam. So Cambridge का question अगर खाली इस पे आ रहा है 5 regular prayers पे, that's the total answer, and that's done here. All right. Now, what are the questions we have done in prayer topics till now? We started with conditions for prayer. That's the first question. Then we started discussing about Wazu. I told you today you have to read from the book once, also the method in detail. Third thing which we discussed about is delayed prayers till now. What we have done till now? Delayed prayers. Then we discussed about method of a single rakah. And then we discussed about congregational prayer. Congregational prayer पे बहुत अच्छी development है, structuring है. आप इसी को modify करके अपने question के expectation के हिसाब से change कर सकते हैं. Now we are moving to one last topic for today. That is Friday prayer. If a note is asked on Friday prayer, what we need to do in it, again, the one who performs it, it's easier for that student because that person knows the sequence and structuring there. So it will be easier. But how to plan an answer of a Friday prayer? There is an easy method, yes. Preparation का एक paragraph बिल्कुल बनेगा. But what do you think it's best to write in the first paragraph of Friday prayer note? Cambridge used to ask 2 types of questions. No, I'm talking about the whole day, Friday. Significance of the day of Friday. You can begin your answer with the day of Friday significance, like it's the head of all the days of the week. Okay, each religion has a significant day. For Christians, it is Sunday. For the Jews, it is not Monday, Saturday. For Jews, it's Saturday, and for Muslims, it is Friday. Then you can connect it. There is a surah in Quran, it's Surah Jummah, which highlights the significance of Friday. You can talk more about it. मैं आपको थोड़ा से points दिखाता हूँ, फिर मैं आपको outline की तरफ लेता हूँ. आपका answer begin होगा. Question ये, Cambridge question will describe your focus should be on congregational prayer, but make a paragraph on this day. There's a Quranic reference which says that when you call for Jummah prayer, leave your business. You remember that reference in Qiyas topic there. The Qiyas in which we have to connect with transactions and all of these things. The Quranic verse is going to be mentioned as a reference in it. Okay. All right. So first paragraph is about significance of Friday. Then the point which Ibrahim said, preparation, but I suggest before preparation on whom Jummah prayer is obligatory. First, we will talk about the people on whom Jummah prayer is obligatory. Then you will talk about who is exempted. And then you are going to talk about the timings of Jummah prayer. Then talk about the preparation method and details there. You got the idea? अब आपका answer structured होगा. introduction to that day, then you will move on whom it is obligatory. You can see I tried to write. Cambridge discourages heading, by the way. But if you have heading in your mind, कि ये मेरा paragraph है, इस topic पर rotate कर रहा, it will make your answer very good. And last time when we were having meeting with the principal examiner, she said if someone have a habit of making heading, let them write the heading. Don't stop them, because that heading will give you a dimension कि मेरा पूरा paragraph इस चीज पे rotate कर रहा है. So though we do not ask the students to write heading, but you should have, this whole paragraph is talking about on whom it is obligatory and who is exempted. So you will write the reference related to that point और आपका वहाँ पे point develop हो जाएगा. ठीक है? आगे आपने इसके बाद किसको discuss करना है? The timings of the Jummah prayer. What's the timing for the Jummah prayer? 12:30. Okay. 1:30 is a fixed. It depends on masjid to masjid. Actually, good. Yes. Timings of Zuhr prayer in simple words. So Jummah prayer is performed as an alternate for Zuhr prayer, and its timings are same as Zuhr prayer. It starts from the midday till the shadow of a person is equal to twice of his original shadow. Means till Asr prayer timings in simple words. So that is the timing. The people who are exempted from Jummah prayer, they will perform Zuhr prayer. Even someone who missed the Jummah prayer, that person will perform Zuhr prayer as a qaza. He will not. Jummah prayer cannot be performed alone as per majority of the scholars. It needs a big congregation, and there is one specific feature of Jummah prayer which makes khutbah, sermon exactly, and two azans. So two things which are there which makes it different from the rest of the prayers. It's congregational prayer. You are talking about 5 in the beginning when we talked about congregation. For Friday, yes, we need a group of people to be there. And Jummah prayer is not performed in Darul Harb, by the way. What's Darul Harb? You are done it. You are doing it in history, actually. Land of
war.
Land of war. Good. Darul Harb नहीं पढ़ा होगा कहाँ पे? Haji Shariatullah के topic में. Even Khilafat movement में भी Haji Shariatullah also declared India as Darul Harb. And he said there is no Jummah prayer and Eid prayer in Faraizi movement. I think check it here. Okay, anyway. So Darul Harb में Jummah prayer and Eid prayer is not there. Is it clear? अब आ जाता है प्रिपरेशन का पॉइंट नेक्स्ट आता है. अगर आप सीक्वेंस में जाएंगे आपका आंसर स्ट्रक्चर होगा, पॉइंट्स आपके ओवरलैप नहीं करेंगे. वरना I was checking some answers. I found student wrote the same thing in another paragraph. Then I was reading another paragraph. I found the same. So that is something which makes examiner feel that you are just copying the same points again and again. So structure them. अब आप आएंगे preparation पे. It's almost same as conditions of the prayer. Direction to Qibla, Mishoro, clean clothes, and all of these things. But here it is recommended to perform ghusl, to take bath, to use siwak. Routine में भी करना चाहिए, to clean your teeth with toothstick. Applying fragrance and all of these things, you can talk about that one, and going to masjid at its earliest. Something which is missing in my handout here, even cutting of the nail or trimming of the nail can be discussed there. Something which is missing here, I personally think it can be added, the reward of going to masjid at the earliest. There is a hadith of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Anyone knows about that hadith for reward for going to masjid early for Jummah prayer? Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam compared it with the reward. What's that? Very good. So Khakan gave a hint for that one. Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ ki, the reward promised for person who is going to masjid for Jummah prayer earliest, starting with sacrificing a camel in the way of Allah, declining to lower till an egg in the way of Allah. Very good. आप इस hadith को, इस reference को add कर सकते हैं. What happens? When do you think the angels who are recording the entry of the people who are coming for prayer, they closes their register? What time? When the angels stop writing the names of the people who are going to enter for Friday prayer, when Imam starts khutbah, when Imam goes to the pulpit to give khutbah. Actually, you are right. क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पाकिस्तान में ना 2 तरह की तकरीरें होती हैं. That is not khutbah actually. जो तकरीर Imam gives in Urdu language, that is just his speech. The real khutbah, which we are talking about, is in purely in Arabic. So you're right कि second khutbah आपने जो word use किया. So but we can say it's pure khutbah. Khutbah starts when Imam says something in Arabic actually. उससे पहले जितनी Urdu speech होती है, that is a speech. It is not the part of the Jummah prayer. Why they do that? They want to take the advantage of this time, और वो चाहते हैं कि लोगों को अच्छी चीजें पता चले.
तो 2 sermons नहीं होते?
2 sermons Arabic में जो होते हैं, yes. लेकिन कुछ जगहों पे आप देखें ना, पहले उर्दू में स्पीच चल रही होती है, बड़ी गुस्से में भी कभी इमाम साहब को गुस्सा भी आ जाता है, तो दैट इज एक्चुअली the taqreer. Okay, so I'm just saying that that is not that one. Khutbah is Arabic. Yes, you are right. Two khutbahs, Imam sits in between
सर
them.
एक वो हदीस के साथ करते हैं, दूसरे कुरानिक वर्ड्स के साथ।
Arabic में होता है दोनों।
ओके सर।
अगर नहीं I'm talking about, आप जो कह रहे हैं अगर उर्दू में जो दे रहे होते हैं ना वो तकरीर होती है, जो खुतबा होता है
वो
ना
सर अरबिक में वो
हाँ,
जो
वो खुतबा एग्जैक्ट वो दैट इज
को लेकर खुतबा देते हैं हदीस में।
Tahiyatul Masjid, good point. Tahiyatul Masjid is recommended to be performed every time a person enters a masjid. That is to perform 2 rakats. Yes. No. Tahiyatul Masjid is to perform 2 rakats before sitting in the masjid. If like someone, no, if you reach his masjid, it is recommended, it is a sunnah. It's not compulsory. It's a nafil, but there is a reward for it. Where a masjid mein enter hote hain, as a respect of the masjid, you perform 2 rakats before you sit down in the masjid. You can see that in Arab countries more. The people enter the masjid, then they immediately go and perform 2 rakats, then they sit down as a respect of the masjid. This is actually the quality of Hazrat Ibrahim, Hazrat Bilal Raziyallahu anhu. Prophet asked him, what do you do, like which makes you have such a high level? He said, whenever I perform wuzu, I perform 2 rakats after that one. And whenever I go to the masjid, before sitting, I used to perform 2 rakats. So this is what Allah likes. That's called tahiyyat. Tahiyyat Arabic में कहते हैं to welcome, to say hello. At-tahiyyat उसी से निकला हुआ है, जो किसी चीज को आप welcome करने में कहते हैं, ठीक है? Anyway, back to the discussion again. For Jummah prayer, starting with significance of the day, you need to talk about that day. एक paragraph बन गया. Second paragraph on whom it's obligatory. You can combine it with the timings and all of these things. Then we have preparation details. It will be good to support it with a reference. Then we have method of prayer. Of course, you will talk about go to masjid early and all of these things, performing 2 rakats before sitting in the masjid or any prayer, whatever, and then listening to the imam's khutbah. Jummah ki namaz mein khutbah is before the prayer. In each prayer, it's after the prayer. So you need to just make sure aapne khayal rakhna hai. Aur khutbah listening is wajib. I remember I was in grade 9, तो उस वक्त हमारी book में hadith थी एक, if someone stops someone from talking, even he has done something wrong. That's the hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. जुम्मे के दिन इमाम खुतबा अगर दे रहा हो and you ask someone to stay quiet, even you have done something wrong. So means you should be focused on imam's khutbah and you have to stay quiet. Even you're not going to stop someone from talking also. Means that shows your full. So listening to khutbah is very important and it should be listened quietly till the end. ठीक है, हमारे यहाँ तो ट्रेंड ये होता है, इमाम का खुतबा खत्म हो रहा होता है, इमाम इज स्टार्टिंग द प्रेयर, हाफ ऑफ द पीपल आर जंपिंग इनटू द मस्जिद और एंड पे पहुंच रहे होते हैं. लेकिन अगेन लिसनिंग टू दिस खुतबा इज वाजिब, इट्स रिकमेंडेड एंड द पर्सन शुड ट्राई टू रीच देयर अनलेस यू हैव अ जेन्युइन इशू स्कूल में, कहीं और डिफरेंट केसेस हैं, बट दैट इज गोइंग टू बी देयर. देन आल्सो राइट अबाउट द मेथड ऑफ 2 रकात. आफ्टर दैट इमाम लीड्स 2 रकात प्रेयर, आपने वो भी मेंशन करना है, आप मेथड भी लिख सकते हैं. देयर आर 2 सूरास व्हिच आर रिकमेंडेड to be performed on Jummah prayer. Can anyone tell me? That's good thing. That's in the introduction portion. Yes, someone is saying it right from here. Excellent. Excellent. Hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ki Prophet recommended to perform Surah Al-Ala, which is Sabbih Isma Rabbikal Ala in the first rakah, and in the second rakah that is Surah Al-Ghashiyah. आप जब नॉर्मली कुछ मस्जिदों में नमाज रेगुलर सुन रहे हो तो आपको पता लगेगा दे मोस्टली रिपीट दैट वन. लेकिन जो सुन्ना प्रॉफिट की वर्डिंग है, he said recite a surah starting with C in the first rakah. So Sabbih Isma Rabbikal Ala is the smallest one. That's why they prefer to recite it. If you write it, it's good. It's not the requirement, but that makes your answer go up. क्योंकि कुछ invigilators के भी knowledge में ये चीजें नहीं होती हैं. By the way, now the invigilators' knowledge, examiners' knowledge is also increasing. When they check the students' answers, they get shocked sometimes कि student को कहाँ से ये चीजें, because you are researching more these days. You are having lots of notes. You have lots of resources. पहले बच्चे के पास एक फरखंदा नूर की बुक होती थी बस टोटल, एंड दे प्रिपेयर फॉर दैट एंड दे गेट गुड ग्रेड्स देयर. नाउ यू हैव लॉट्स ऑफ बुक्स देयर. एक बुक उठाई, इसमें ये नहीं है, दूसरी बुक से ले लिया, इंटरनेट इज देयर, मल्टीपल रिसोर्सेज आर देयर एंड यू डोंट हैव टू डू एनीथिंग. द नोट्स आर रेडी राइट नाउ, सो कंपटीशन इज आल्सो हायर. ओके, so when you write that answer, make sure method of ये जुम्मा prayer is there. और कैमरे जब combine कर रहा है 2-3 questions को, तो you should have skills to work on that one. This is the easiest question which can be attempted in paper. So there is a tough competition in this question, by the way. So wording of the question plays a big role. वर्डिंग आपने लाजमी पढ़नी है, तो बड़ा सिंपल सा आंसर है. समटाइम्स दे आस्क यू अबाउट द स्पेशल फीचर्स ऑफ द जुम्मा खुतबा, तो मेक श्योर आपका जुम्मा खुतबा की डिटेल्स ज्यादा होनी चाहिए वहां पे. व्हाट आर द एरियाज इमाम शुड फोकस ऑन व्हाइल गिविंग खुतबा. यू कैन सी आई हैव ट्राइड टू फोकस ऑन इट, लाइक 2 पार्ट्स हैं, किस चीज पे फोकस होगा एंड ऑल ऑफ दीस थिंग्स. So these details are going to be added, plus the method of the 2 rakats have to be there. We are done almost with half of the prayer topic now. We have half topics left in prayer mode, which includes Eid prayer. Eid prayer पे 2 तरह के questions आते हैं. We will talk about it. Private prayer, which is dua, we will have to talk about that one. And then we have funeral prayer is never asked, by the way, but we will discuss about it. Then we have benefits of prayer. That's another 10-mark question. They're all 10 mark questions. Or kuch unexpected questions, we will talk about it. But inshallah.